Hello again YouTube and all of my bass followers and anybody else watching. This video will be a revision of the first subharmonic tutorial video that I had, and I want to get straight to the point. There won't be much technique or anything in this video. That will be the next video, which I will make right after this one. So anyways, I'll get straight to it. Some of the points or facts that I stated in my first video were not 100% true. Before I made that video, I did a bit of research online. It is very hard to find information on the subharmonic register, especially information that is 100% accurate. I'm sorry, I contributed to that pile as well. So what did I say incorrectly? Well, one thing that is very important that I said incorrectly is how the sound is created. I directly quoted an article written by Alexander Glenfield on the subharmonic vocal technique. He, if you don't know who he is a very prolific kagura and kume and whatever other types of throat singing there are. He's a very prolific throat singer on YouTube. I was not aware of this. I did not connect the dots right away. But he wrote this article about subharmonic vocal techniques. And it's on Google. It's probably the second search result if you search subharmonic singing. And he references this subharmonic technique and talks about how the false chords and the regular vocal chords act together to create your subharmonic tone. What he was actually talking about was kagura, and I'm assuming that over the years of hearing this subharmonic term, he was thinking that it's an interchangeable term for throat singing. It's the same technique, but it's actually not. They're completely different. So what I learned from Kay Barber, who kindly messaged me about this and told me and instructed me on what is actually going on, is that your false chords are not being used at all. So we are going to look into, real quick, how you are creating the subharmonic tone. No false chords are being used. You're just using your regular chords. You have two vocal cord flaps in your throat. When you're singing in the modal register chest voice, they are vibrating at the same rate, and every time they converge in the middle, that creates your fundamental frequency. So if you're singing an A3, which is 220 hertz roughly, your vocal cord flaps are converging, passing by each other 220 times per second. So let's say we want to sing, take that knowledge, and let's say we want to sing a subharmonic A1. How do we get this subharmonic frequency? So what you are doing, or what your throat is doing, either consciously or subconsciously, is one of your vocal cord flaps is vibrating at your fundamental frequency. The fundamental frequency for an A2 or an A1 subharmonic pitch is the octave above at an A2. That is for this first subharmonic. So one of your vocal cord flaps is vibrating at this fundamental of an A2. The other one, by muscle relaxation and constriction and whatever, is it vibrates at an E3, or a perfect fifth above that fundamental frequency of an A2. This frequency ratio can be number notated at a 3-to-2 ratio. 3 being your fifth of the perfect fifth, and the 2 being the first, or the fundamental of the perfect fifth. So these two vibrate together, and as you would guess, they do not cross the middle at the same time they would as if both of the chords are vibrating at an A2. They do cross paths in the middle, however, and you can notate this with sine waves and other graphs that I'm not going to talk about right now. And when they do cross in the middle, it creates this new subharmonic tone. And for this frequency ratio of 3-to-2, or a perfect fifth, you get a subharmonic of an octave below your fundamental. So if your fundamental is an A2, you relax your throat so they vibrate at a different rate, your vocal cord flaps, and you get an E3 vibrating on your other vocal cord flap. The new resultant subharmonic pitch is an A1, 1 octave below the A2. So that is how sound is actually created in this register, and there's some very cool opportunities that knowledge presented to me, and I will talk about those in another video as well. So dealing with instruments and other subharmonics in nature and things like that. So anyways, there was another important thing that I mentioned in the first video. I don't know if I was just tired or if I was just not thinking straight when I made that video, but I said something like the false chords are used by Tim Storms to create some of his special vocal fry. And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. What I was talking about, or what I meant to say, was Tim Faust uses this for his growl technique. The false chords are used, the only time they are exclusively used by themselves that I am aware of is this growl technique. It's also called fire breathing. Tim Faust uses it, Avi Copland uses it in Natural Disaster, Tim uses it in Ring of Fire sometimes, and Fishing in the Dark, he uses it quite a bit. So that is what I was talking about there. A lot of you probably know what that is. It's the really breathy, super low, almost like you're clearing your throat, that sort of technique. That's what I meant to say in that video. Instead of Tim Storms using special fry, Tim Faust using growl exclusively uses the false chords. And one more thing that was minute, but it was dumb, and I must have been tired. I said Kenny Rogers uses the subharmonic technique accidentally in the song called The Joker, and it's not called The Joker, it's called The Gambler. Everybody knows that, hopefully. So now everybody definitely knows that. It is The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. The first pitch on that, if you haven't heard it yet, the first pitch on it, he accidentally sits in the subharmonic register for about less than half of a second, but it's there, and if you hear it, you'd be like, oh, he is in that register. And that is how I learned how to find the register. So that's all I have for now. I'm going to shut this off and make another video for you guys. So take care.